certain aspect that I want to share with the students, with the scholars, with the researchers, that how we move towards the innovation, how ChatGPT is influencing, how artificial intelligence is taking place. Nowadays, it is a revolution. And today, you will see that in your own domain, although I will take the example of quantitative research, but why I'm discussing this in a conference where we have all fields from all. That means they are from either from qualitative research, they are doing quantitative, they are doing mixed method also. So today, let's start my theory, which I'm sure make you think in terms of how we can use a mixed method approach even in a qualitative background, and how we can elevate and how easy nowadays it is to use the artificial intelligence in your own research. And my request is that everyone should try this particular aspect in your own research problem. So let me start first step with the quantitative research. And in this part, I would like to highlight one very important aspect. That is, whenever we go for any quantitative research, one thing is very, very important, that we have to optimize the process. Now, in terms of the optimization, two things are immediately come to our mind. That is the efficiency and the efficacy. Why global scholars and academicians, especially those who are from the quantitative research, they always worried about the numbers. Numbers plays big part in our research. And today we will see that how a research that has been carried out by a researcher and a research that is carried out by an artificial intelligence program, how we can actually take the help without spending any money on any softwares, which is very, very integral. Yes, primarily, we need to learn softwares in order to have the data and their interpretations. And we also should know how we can interpret that particular data in our manuscript or in our thesis so that we can do the publication in Q1 and Q2 journals. This is the main idea that I started my project. I will do my research. I will find out the novelty factor. I will uh, do my experimental studies, those who are from the experimental background, or I will do my research, and then I will find out certain results which under which of course will be a non-biased factor, and I will try to represent that results and try to match up with the current or existing literature, and then check that yes, I have done something very unique, so I must publish this work so that others can take a leaf out of my manuscript, my research, and they can also propel to certain new applications and new dimensions. Now, let's understand first the optimization process. You have, if you see that anyone who are starting their research journey, they have certain research problems. They have research questions, they delve it, they do the literature review, they find out the research gap. Yes, this has not been done, this application has not been done. And then you will try to find out, you will prepare it in a design format, which we call it as an experimental design. This experimental design in the previous, let's say, uh, 15 years ago, 15 years ago, if you are starting this kind of a research, you need certain particular softwares, especially the statistical softwares you need. And then finally, you have to learn these softwares. You have to learn SPSS, you have to learn Minitab, you have to learn Statistica. And then you have to understand what can I get out from these softwares as per my experimental designs. So two factors will come into very, very important and handy, and we should know about it. One is the response, and others are the factors inflicting these responses. Now you can take it in a qualitative mode as well. For example, if I'm studying, let's say, and I'm an educational, I'm doing a studies on education. So if my primary response is that how the learning ability of a student, then there are so many factors which is influencing that particular response. And if I'm from the quantitative background, especially in biotechnology, let's say if I'm focusing on enzyme activity, that is my prime concern, that I want to increase the enzyme activity from a particular bacteria or from a particular fungi, then my entire focus will be what are the factors influencing these enzyme activity. So these are the both qualitative and a quantitative part. Now, what I do is I prepare an experimental design with the help of these statistical softwares. For that, I need to know what are the existing models are already available from which I can do and prepare this experimental design, so that once I write the publication, then the chances of the success of that publication will be high. Now, then I need to know certain computational model or as well as the mathematical model. Now, as from the qualitative research background, it is always very, very difficult sometimes. And by the way, it is not difficult nowadays because the AI can help you. AI can be your math companion, your computational companion. So those in the previous part, we are thinking, okay, everything is mathematics. I can't understand these models. It is very difficult. How I can employ in my qualitative research data? It is not possible. Now it is possible, and we should use it, because you see the success rate of your creativity is always come with your manuscript and the drafting process. The scientific drafting and the scientific creativity is very, very important. Now coming back to the models, two things, as I already said, that efficacy and accuracy is very, very important. So generally, if you see in a manuscript how many softwares we use, if we are using mixed method, I'm talking about. Okay, we use SPSS for our quantitative research analysis. We do tests on it. And if you are from the qualitative background, you use NVivo. And if you're from mixed method, you use Atlas TI. Or if you are from, in general, if for the drafting process also, we need the primary result to be reflected in our Excel sheet. Then we move towards these primary data. We will filter them. We will make it secondary data. Then we filter again for the interpretation for our manuscript. That is the tertiary data. Finally, that tertiary data, we put it in a manuscript. We need to learn Mendeley and Zotero for our reference part. So all in all, 6 to 7 softwares generally we use in a manuscript. Now we have to learn all those softwares. But the thing is, the AI can do it for you. And I will show you today, also with my live demonstration, that how AI can actually give you the entire experimental design, how AI can also say or guide in the sense that what things you need to do before proceed further. So that means a guide and a companion concept is there, but there is a very big but. We are giving the prompt commands to the AI. So you have to be very careful what you're asking with the AI, because AI will only gather the relevant information which is existing in their large LLM models, which have the data which is already existing. So something new, if you want to go, it is very, very difficult. So you have to understand what you are doing. Now, as coming back to my part, especially with the response and factors, as I said, I prepared this experimental design. I will go to my lab, I will go to my field, I will do this experiment, and then finally I will get some results. I will get back to the computational model. I will put those results in the computational model. Then the computational model will say, yeah, okay, it is matching, 90% matching, 80% matching. That means, wow, this. And then I will search the literature. Is anyone has done this? What is their matching score? They are 75. Okay, my optimization is done, and I will now start my publication. So this is the process generally we do in order to have the publications, and something new and creative must come out. That's why only the peers will say, wow, you have done an excellent job, because your efficacy and accuracy as per the experimental model and the computational model is somewhere around 90%. That means your optimization level is high and you have done in a right manner. Now, very, very important. You need to understand these models, very complex mathematical models, but AI is there. Don't worry. And my request to all those who are from the qualitative research background, please think in that sense. For example, I have just given you an example in education. You can take that example in management as well. Only factor is that you have to keep in mind that all the factors as well as the response must be quantifiable in terms of the numbers, and that you can easily do because in SPSS we generally what from the qualitative researchers they also do in that manner. So the conversion of the qualitative data into the quantitative data, the normalization of the data is very, very important. Now, certain existing models are there. So many publications in the era of 2005 to 2011 to 2015. Until 2015, so many publications from Japan, from China, from Germany, from US are coming on these complex mathematical models that they are using in a qualitative research, as well as they are using, even the biologists now are using these kind of mathematical models to improve their own. And not only those, bigger industries are now following these optimization strategies. Now the central composite design, it's a mathematical design, response surface methodology, artificial neural network, convoluted, so all those neural networks now become a part of an AI. So you have to understand that how you can prepare a model from your study, and then you can use these computational models. And yes, you can use it. It is not the copyright. CCD has not the copyright that only a mathematician or a physicist use this particular thing to optimize their own mathematical functions. No, everyone can use it. And the research shows that from 2005 to 2015, there are enormous amount of publication that they are giving these things. Now, let me quickly go towards the sharing of the how it can be done with the help of AI. Now, as you know, that in terms of AI, your prompt must be very, very important. And your what you need to know from the AI is very, very critical. So here comes research genius from Eudoxia. He is a savior for me because you see, I have given a very specific command. Now, why I'm doing this to show you, and you can also try this with your own data, with your own experimental design, even if you are from the qualitative background. Now, what I said to the chat GPT that I'm a biochemist, I want to optimize certain media for a certain fungal growth with response. My response is enzyme activity. Please give me a screening model of Plackett-Berman, which is a kind of a mathematical model with 5 factors. Now I'm giving everything to the chat GPT. I'm not leaving anything that he will compute himself or herself. So I have given him 5 factors, all physical factors, temperature, what in my experimental part, what I feel that these are the factors which influencing this particular response. I want to optimize it. And then I said, please give me an experimental setup in the design of -1, 0, and +1. Now, -1 is the lowest thing I can pick up, the number. 0 is the mid value, +1 is the highest value. Now, ChatGPT said, yes, certainly. I can give you the design. Now, ChatGPT has given me the entire factorial level design in terms of minus, 0, and plus. Again, minus is the lowest number of my particular factor, and +1 is the highest number. This comes with the literature review. You have to do the literature review, and even then you can assign ChatGPT to do the literature review, but you have to check the Semantic Scholar, the Science Direct, every possible Mendeley, every possible database where you find this particular manuscripts or publications for your research, for your literature review. You have to do that much. So now the ChatGPT is giving me, and he's saying that do the replication in triplicates. And now this sheet, I will print this sheet. I will go to my lab. I will do the exact whatever the runs he's giving. He is giving me 8 runs to do. I will do it in triplicates. So that means 24 part I will do these experiments, and I will come up with the results. And once I come up with the results, then again, I will ask him, okay, now CCD is done. Now give me a response surface methodologies data. That means where I have to put these results. So he's giving me again a design, complete design of 32 runs. Now here again, I will do this, the runs, the experimental design. And finally, he is giving me, okay, this is your quadratic equation. That means y is equal to, that is my response, enzyme activity. For you, let's say students learning, ability, students learning ability. Okay, then equal to then my factors x1, x2, x3, and then all in summation. That means they are all positively influencing the factor. If they are negatively influencing, then you divide that. So he is giving me one mathematical model and he's giving me a quadratic equation. This mathematical model, the results I have, I will put my results into, let's say, beta 1, beta 2, beta 3. That is my factors, of course. And I have done the experimental study, have the results. I will put this equation into a mathematical equation. Now my experimental equation and my mathematical equation, if they are combining and showing almost 80 to 90% efficacy, that means my optimization is done. And then, of course, he's giving me ANOVA tables. But now I'm again giving him command. Now, okay, can you take the example for me already published articles in the similar domain? Can you give me a very concrete form that how I represent my data? Okay, so I'm taking the help that how to represent. There are so many tables, there are so many figures, how to represent my data. Now the chat GPT is giving me, yes, you can represent it in the form of contour plots, which is a very classical way in terms of mathematical model to show when you have multiple responses, X, Y, Z, that means a 3D or sometimes a 2D structure. Even you can go for a Pareto plots where there are only 1D sections. So, but I'm asking him, please give me a code of R. Okay, because I'm fluent in R, so I will put the code in R. If you're not fluent, no worries. He can give you, and this is how now the statistical softwares came into play. With ChatGPT, you can actually design. Now I'm saying, okay, give me a contour plot of this particular combination because my results are these combinations. And then he's stating that, yes, I can give you, but you have to give me a complete picture of your experimental design. So I feed the complete picture of my experimental design, my data. So ChatGPT is not taking data from the internet. Now my data is there and I've given the data to ChatGPT and voila, here comes the design of my contour plot where I have to give, and you have seen these kind of figures and diagrams in many Scopus publications. So you see, what I have done is I have just created the entire experimental design with the help of my friend, Research Genius. Now, this Research Genius is, and now it is very, very critical to understand the kind of commands that I have given are very specific to my own domain. And it can be very, very important that how, because if you slightly mislead it, it will give you a very, very different picture. Of course, this is only an idea. If I do not have SPSS, if I do not have the softwares, the expensive softwares, where I can go, I can simply use R, I can simply use Research Genius from Edoxia, and I can plan my entire journey of the experiments. So this, why I'm telling you this, because it is very, very important to understand that in a mathematical model where you have to move towards your own research, and especially those who are from management, those who are from the qualitative research, because in management, in finances, and even in other parts, especially in terms of the business, those who are studying, the MBA students, the BBA students, the students who are doing diplomas, the PhD scholars, they can have this kind of approach. Why? Because it will make your manuscript quite novel, as well as you have a clear understanding of the numbers which are actually playing very critical. It's beyond the numbers, but my argument is that ultimately everything comes into 0 and 1. So my suggestions or your takeaway is that start your own project. Don't be afraid. Use this method, learn from the experts, and try to utilize it in your own research. And always ask how I can prepare that, what I need, what are the things I need. First, make a list, then move towards the research project, and then finally learn scientific writing, because it is not like a fiction or book fiction writing, which you are writing long lengthy paragraphs and the stories in the manuscript. Then the editor will immediately say that this is not my cup of tea, thank you so much for submission, and you can because your manuscript does not fall in aims and scope of my journal, so I have to reject it. That is the very generalized way of editor saying that this manuscript is not up to the mark. So my suggestion is that have a clear idea, ask the experts, do everything very scientifically, learn the manuscript drafting part and learn these kind of models, which is very, very easy, very simple. It is not that you have to learn the quadratic equation and you have to learn the differential equations going back to the 11th and 12th standard and learn everything and then you can do. No, the AI is here to help you. He can do it for you. But the only thing is you must know very clearly, underlining statement is that what you want to achieve in terms of your research project. So with this, I would like to end my session. I hope that most of the students now indulge into this practices and plus it is very, very easy as well. I have shown you the live. Of course, I have saved the time so that if I do the command prompt every time, I just already made it one very important experimental design part from my field, and you can do it from your field also. Those who are from mass communication, those who are from qualitative research, anyone can do that. The only thing is you have to be very, very critical how to use AI. So thank you so much. I would like to thank our honorable chief patron, Professor Dr. Rituraj Saikia, for giving me this wonderful opportunity and first of all giving this birth to Global Nexus 2025. Thank you so much, sir. And now over to you. My session is ended. Thank you so much, and thank you all for your patience listening.